You know that exact moment when you step off the plane after a long trip and suddenly everything back home feels a little bit broken? Not in some dramatic way, just the small stuff. You're standing in your own kitchen, staring at a cold takeout container, and you catch yourself thinking, man, I wish this would just heat itself up like those bento boxes I got used to in Japan. Or you're freezing in your living room because the central heat is blasting the entire house when all you really need is warmth right where you're sitting. That's what hit me the hardest after I'd lived there for years. Japan doesn't throw money at flashy robots or complicated gadgets. They just quietly solve the everyday annoyances we've all accepted as normal, and they do it with ideas so simple you wonder why the rest of the world never thought of them. Let me take you through what a regular day actually feels like when these ideas are baked into the culture. Because once you experience them, going back to the old way feels almost ridiculous. Picture this. It's a crisp Tokyo morning. You're rushing to catch the train, and you duck into one of those ubiquitous convenience stores. You grab a bento box, rice, grilled chicken, some pickled vegetables, and instead of settling for a lukewarm meal or hunting for a microwave, you just pull a little tab on the bottom. That's it. A safe, self-contained chemical reaction kicks in, and within 3 or 4 minutes the food inside is piping hot, while the outside of the box stays cool enough to hold comfortably. No electricity, no planning ahead, no outlet required. You can eat it on the platform, on the train, or even sitting on a park bench. I still remember the first time I did that on a hiking trail outside Kyoto. There I was, miles from anywhere, pulling that string and suddenly enjoying a proper hot lunch while the rest of the world was stuck with cold sandwiches. It's portable restaurant-quality food, anywhere, anytime. And it makes you realize how much we've normalized cold, mediocre meals on the go. But the real magic starts when the seasons change. Winter in Japan can bite, especially if you're from a place like Chicago or London where you just crank the thermostat and hope for the best. That's when I discovered the kotatsu. It's basically a low table with a heater built right underneath and a heavy blanket tucked between the top and the frame. You sit on the floor, or on a cushion, slide your legs under, and suddenly your lower body is wrapped in this perfect warm cocoon while the rest of the room stays at a normal temperature. Your legs stay toasty, you save a fortune on heating the whole house, and everyone gathers around it naturally. Families eat there, kids do homework, friends drink tea and watch TV. The warmth is addictive in the best way. Once you're under it, you genuinely don't want to leave. Modern ones have electric heaters with thermostats. Older ones used charcoal. Either way, it's localized heat exactly where your body needs it, not wasted on the ceiling. I can't tell you how many times I sat there in my tiny apartment, legs warm, sipping coffee, thinking about my friends back home shivering in big, drafty living rooms. Japan made winter cozy instead of miserable, and they did it without turning the entire place into a sauna. Then lunchtime rolls around and you're craving something hot and interactive. That's when you head to one of those casual hot pot spots. In most countries, hot pot means one big shared pot in the center of the table. Everyone negotiating spice levels, worrying about cross-contamination, waiting for the broth to be just right. Not in Japan. Here, each person gets their own personal hot pot, with its own little burner right at their seat. You pick your broth, light and vegetal for me, rich and meaty for the guy next to me. No compromise. You control the ingredients, the timing, the heat. No double dipping, no who ate the last piece of beef, no rushing because someone else is finished. It feels luxurious even though the place is totally casual. You're still chatting and laughing with your friends, but each of you is in complete control of your own meal. It's communal dining without any of the usual friction, and it turns lunch into something genuinely relaxing instead of a group negotiation. By mid-afternoon, the summer heat can hit like a wall, humid, heavy, the kind that makes you want to melt. That's when you start noticing the misting stations scattered through busy pedestrian zones, outside train stations, along shopping streets. They're simple, upright pipes spraying an ultra-fine water mist that evaporates the instant it hits the air. No one gets wet. You just feel the temperature drop several degrees around you, like walking through a pocket of instant relief. I've stood under one in the middle of a 95-degree afternoon in Shinjuku, sweat evaporating off my skin, and felt human again in seconds. It's not some fancy air conditioning system, just smart public infrastructure using basic evaporative cooling to make outdoor spaces actually livable. Most cities in the West shrug and say, "It's summer, deal with it." Japan quietly built little climate oases right where people need them most. And then there's the moment that changes how you think about bathrooms forever. You walk into any public restroom, train station, department store, park, and there it is, the washlet. It's not a luxury add-on, it's standard. After you're done, you press a button and a small nozzle extends, gently spraying warm water exactly where you need it. Pressure, temperature, position, you adjust everything with a simple panel. Then a warm air dryer finishes the job. No more paper, no more that slightly unclean feeling you've just accepted your whole life. It's hygienic, it uses almost no toilet paper, and honestly, once you've tried it, regular toilets feel almost barbaric. Even the public ones have heated seats, deodorizers, and sometimes soft background music to cover any noise. I remember the first time I used one in a busy station and thought, this is what a toilet is supposed to feel like. It turns a basic necessity into something that actually leaves you feeling better. When the day starts to wind down and the stress of the city starts to creep in, there's another ritual that resets everything: the onsen. Japan sits on a volcanic backbone, so natural hot springs bubble up all over the country. You pay a small fee, wash thoroughly before you enter, naked, no swimsuits, and then you slip into these mineral-rich pools. The water is naturally heated, loaded with sulfur, magnesium, iron, stuff that's been soothing muscles and softening skin for centuries. You sit there, steam rising around you, maybe outdoors with mountains in the background, or indoors in a beautifully tiled room, and the heat just melts the tension out of your shoulders. It's not a fancy spa treatment you book once a year. It's everyday wellness, something regular people do after work or on weekends. The etiquette is strict. Wash first, respect the space. But once you're in, it's pure, quiet restoration. I'd come out of an onsen feeling lighter, skin softer, mind clearer, and I'd think about how back home we pay premium prices for similar experiences that aren't even half as authentic. And through all of this, there's always a vending machine nearby when you need a drink. Not the kind you're used to that only spits out cold soda. These machines keep half the selection ice cold and the other half piping hot, all in the same unit. Winter morning? Grab a canned coffee that's genuinely hot, steaming, almost too warm to hold at first. Summer afternoon? Ice-cold green tea that actually feels cold. They're on every corner, inside stations, up mountain trails. You never have to hunt for the right temperature. The machine has already figured it out for you. It's such a small thing, but it means refreshment is always exactly what your body needs, right when you need it. Then there are the standing noodle counters, tiny shops with no seats at all. You order from a ticket machine, hand it over, and within minutes a steaming bowl appears on the narrow counter in front of you. You stand, slurp quickly, finish in 10 minutes flat, and you're on your way. No lingering, no waiting for a table, no big bill. It's pure efficiency for people with tight lunch breaks, but the noodles are still excellent, fresh, flavorful, never rushed in quality. The whole system is designed so the restaurant serves way more customers per hour without wasting space on dining areas. And you get in and out fast without feeling like you're being herded. It's urban dining stripped down to exactly what it needs to be. I could go on and on about how these ideas stack together throughout the day, making everything smoother, warmer, cleaner, and more human. But we're only halfway through the list of things that still surprise me every time I think about them. The afternoon commute, the way they handle parking, the late-night food runs, the way public spaces stay so impeccably clean. It all builds on these same principles. If you're nodding along right now thinking, wait, why don't we have any of this? Then stick around, because the next half gets even more practical, even more surprising, and honestly, even harder to live without once you've seen it in action. But the afternoon rolls on, and suddenly you're staring down the reality of city life in Tokyo. Narrow streets, packed schedules, and nowhere obvious to park. That's when the automated parking systems kick in and quietly blow your mind. You pull into what looks like a normal garage entrance, drive your car onto a platform, step out, and tap a button. The whole thing lifts, rotates, and tucks your vehicle into a vertical or underground slot like it's filing away a book. No circling for spots, no squeezing between SUVs, no stress. When you're ready to leave, you insert your ticket or tap your card, and the machine delivers your car right back to you in minutes. It's mechanical, efficient, and turns parking from a daily headache into something that just happens. In a country where space is at a premium, they've engineered entire garages that fit dozens of cars in the footprint of just a handful of traditional spots. Your vehicle stays protected from weather, from theft, from dings. I still smile every time I think about friends back in Europe or the States describing their parking nightmares, and I remember how I never once worried about it in Japan. It's not flashy. It's just smart design that removes an entire category of frustration from your day. As evening approaches and you're meeting friends after work, the social side of Japanese life shows up in another clever twist: the nomi hodai, or all-you-can-drink deal at izakayas. You pay a flat fee up front, maybe 2 or 3,000 yen, and for the next 90 or 120 minutes, you order as many beers, cocktails, wines, or soft drinks as you want from the set menu. No calculating who drank what, no awkward bill splitting at the end, no surprise charges. Everyone pays the same, the staff keeps the drinks coming, and the time limit keeps things civilized without anyone overdoing it. It's perfect for groups. You know exactly what the night is going to cost before the first glass even hits the table. The conversation flows, the laughter gets louder, and you're not mentally doing math every time someone orders another round. It turns a casual gathering into something relaxed and predictable, exactly the opposite of those nights back home where the tab arrives and everyone starts negotiating. Japan took the stress out of group drinking and made it feel generous and fair at the same time. Somewhere in the middle of all this, you duck into a restroom, maybe at the izakaya, maybe at the station, and you notice something small but brilliant sitting on the counter: a UV phone sanitizer station. You set your phone in the little compartment while you wash your hands. 30 to 60 seconds of UVC light later, the surface is sterilized. No wipes, no chemicals, no effort. You pick it up cleaner than when you walked in. It's such a tiny piece of infrastructure, yet it solves a problem most of us don't even think about. We wash our hands thoroughly, then immediately grab the same phone we've been touching all day, the one that's probably dirtier than the toilet seat. Phones pick up bacteria from tables, pockets, faces, you name it. Japan noticed that gap and built a passive solution right where you're already washing up. You don't have to change your habits. The station just quietly makes your hygiene complete. It's the kind of thoughtful detail that makes you realize how many little contamination loops we accept everywhere else. And speaking of things that just work, let's talk about the IC cards. Suica, Pasmo, the rechargeable smart cards that became my wallet, my train pass, my everything. You load money once at a machine or even on your phone, and then you tap it everywhere. Train gates, buses, vending machines, convenience stores, restaurants, coin lockers, even some parking meters. One card, nationwide. My Tokyo card worked flawlessly in Osaka, Kyoto, anywhere. No fumbling for exact change, no juggling different apps or cash. Just tap and go, and the transaction is done in under a second. It speeds up every single micro-interaction in your day. Tourists buy visitor versions at the airport and instantly plug into the entire system. It's not just convenient, it removes friction from life in a way you don't fully appreciate until you're back home counting coins at a checkout line or waiting for a card reader to approve. Japan unified all those little daily payments into one effortless motion, and suddenly your day feels lighter. That same seamless feeling carries you onto the train platform. You're standing there in rush hour, chatting or checking your phone, and you realize you're not even close to the edge. Floor-to-ceiling platform screen doors run the entire length, with automatic doors that only open when the train pulls in and lines up perfectly. The barriers stay closed the rest of the time. No one can stumble, get pushed, or jump. It's physically impossible to fall onto the tracks. I've stood on those platforms during packed evening commutes and felt genuinely safe, even when the crowd was shoulder to shoulder. The doors also help with climate control, keeping cool air in during summer, warmth in during winter. It seems like such an obvious safety feature once you see it, yet most stations around the world still rely on a painted yellow line and a prayer. Japan engineered the risk out of the equation instead of just warning people to be careful. It treats human error as something design can prevent, not something you manage with signs and announcements. And when the train drops you off late at night and that familiar late evening hunger hits, you don't have to settle for vending machine chips or delivery apps. You walk into any convenience store, those konbini that are literally everywhere, and the hot food counter is still going strong, even at 3 in the morning. Freshly fried chicken that's crispy and hot, steamed buns stuffed generously, odins simmering in winter broth, or cold noodles in summer. It's not gas station food. It's legitimate rotating seasonal meals made fresh throughout the day. The staff restocks constantly so everything tastes good, not reheated and sad. You grab what you want, pay with that same IC card, and you've got a proper hot dinner or snack without waking anyone up or waiting for anything. It's infrastructure that assumes people need real food at all hours, and quietly delivers it without judgment or compromise on quality. I can't count how many nights I relied on that counter after a long day or a late flight, and each time I thought about how many cities back home go completely dark for decent food after 10 p.m. But the thing that still floors me, every single time I talk about it, is how all these innovations come together in the simplest, most taken-for-granted places: the public restrooms. They're consistently spotless, well-stocked, and maintained to a standard most people only expect in their own homes. Toilet paper is always there, soap works, floors are dry, no graffiti, no broken fixtures. You walk in and it just feels pleasant. Even in busy train stations or parks. It's not magic. It's a combination of cultural respect, people simply don't trash them, and serious infrastructure investment. Quality materials, thoughtful design that's easy to clean, and staff who take genuine pride in their work. Many have heated seats, baby changing stations, and accessibility features as standard. You don't plan your day around avoiding public bathrooms. You use them without a second thought because they're reliable and clean. It's the final piece that makes the whole system feel complete. Japan proved that public facilities don't have to be the last resort. They can be something you actually look forward to using. When I finally left Japan and came back to the West, that's when it all hit me at once. The cold lunches, the freezing legs in winter, the shared hot pots that feel like a negotiation, the sweaty summer streets, the toilets that suddenly felt incomplete, the parking stress, the late-night hunger with no good options, the platforms that still make you nervous. Every single one of those annoyances came rushing back, and I realized how completely Japan had made them disappear. Not with billion-dollar tech or flashy marketing, just simple, brilliant, human-centered ideas that respect your time, your comfort, your safety, and your dignity. These aren't exotic novelties. They're practical upgrades to daily life that make you wonder why we haven't adopted them everywhere. If any of this resonated with you, if you're sitting there thinking about your own cold lunches or freezing winters or chaotic commutes, then do me a favor and hit that like button right now. It tells YouTube you want more of these real, grounded stories about the clever things Japan figured out first. And if you're the kind of person who loves discovering solutions that actually stick with you and change how you see ordinary days, then subscribe and turn on notifications. I've got more episodes coming that dig even deeper into the quiet innovations that make life smoother, warmer, cleaner, and honestly, just better. Thanks for spending this time with me. I'll see you in the next one. Maybe we'll talk about the next layer of things I still miss every single day. Until then, take care, and maybe try pulling that little tab on a self-heating bento if you ever get the chance. You'll thank me later.